Budget Consultation here in Malabar. We'd like to ask everyone to stand for our national anthem. I'd like to encourage everyone here to please sing out the words of our anthem. The words of our anthems are very deep and they have a lot of meaning, so we'd like you to sing along.
Forged from the love of liberty, in the fires of hope and prayer, with boundless faith in our destiny, we solemnly declare, side by side we stand, highlands of the blue Caribbean Sea, this our native land. We pledge our lives to thee. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation.
Thank you. If you can remain standing, I would like to invite our chair lady this afternoon.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. All protocol observed to the MP Saddam. So we are standing to prayer. I want to call Asher before you to give the prayer, please.
I'd ask everyone to bow their heads, close your eyes. Ahudu billah himana shaitan nirajim. I seek refuge in you, O God, from Satan. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of the most gracious and the most merciful. Rabbi, we thank you. We must always start off our prayer by honoring the one that created us and made us first. We always put God first. We always walk behind after. Rab, we are here today because we are in pain. We are here today because we are concerned about our country. This is our pre-budget consultation. We ask of you that the knowledge that will be exposed here today, if it hits the hands and the minds of the ones for which it is meant to be. Rabbi, we are all here together, one man, one mankind, same fight, different day. We ask you for strength, we ask you for patience, we ask you for tolerance. Merciful Father, guide us, protect us, and may whatever comes out of this evening event be fruitful and bear fruit such that we can see it when we take office. Amen.
My name is Diane Bishop, alderman in the TPRC Corporation. Today is a day that all of us So my people, today is a day that all of us, we know the reason why we are out here today. Today is a day that even single mothers, single fathers, men and women, boys and girls, we know what's going on in our country, and we know that there is a budget before us pretty soon. So we come out here today because we want the government to hear us, because we are the government. Not so? We are the government. So I want to bring on my first person this evening, Councillor Jaylin Rupnarain from Kurep Paje, to bring greetings.
Good evening to my UNC families. Good evening to my UNC family. Our distinguished political leader, the Honorable Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa. My friends, this rowdy PNM government has been frozen in action, bringing the economy to a standstill since they assumed office. The only growth in this industry under the PNM is crime, which is now completely out of control. I have been the councillor for the electoral district of Kirapaji since 2016. And as this date, I can tell you that Tunapuna Piako Regional Corporation continues to suffer a lack of funds being released to provide the services to our people. Imagine your tax-paying dollars paying for Rowley and his big man to travel the world in first class. But you cannot get your area sprayed for mosquito, your drains clean, or even your grass cut. Local government election is due, my friends, and the PNM talking about delivery and local government reform. But that is all we get from this PNM government. Talk, talk, talk. Look at the state of our roads. Wall-to-wall potholes. I have seen situations where vehicles went into these holes and got stuck and could not come back out. I know people who had tire bursts when they dropped in these massive holes. As a matter of fact, ponds. And now, who is paying taxes to fix the road that Rohan is not fixing? Have to again take our money to fix your car. That is wrong. Let's talk about street lighting. I am tired of begging the ministry to repair street lights, to replace bulbs, and to put more lights. Street lights help prevent crime. And at a very last effect, let's talk about employment. Between Minister Alwari and Imbert, I don't know who is worse. I have burgesses who have nothing to eat. They don't want a handout. They don't want to work. These are people with pride. We can't get people employed because Minister Alwari and Imbert not releasing monies for project. Let's talk about equipment. Every time rain fall, people getting flooded out. You can't even get the water truck to wash down these roads, much less for backhoe to clear the drains. There is no equipment to maintain the recreation grounds. You want to know what the excuse is? No funds for the equipment. They have been shut down for fuel and battery because Faris and Imbert have different priorities than you. Like you and I totally are fed up of their excuses. We are so fed up of them sabotaging our burgesses. We are fed up of their lies. We are fed up of their misplaced priorities. We are fed up. We have had enough. If they can't do the job with taxpayers' money, tell them to get out. And I mean it, get out now. I have been in public service for almost a decade. My love, my care, my compassion for helping people, it continues to be disrespected under this uncaring, wicked PNM government. I want to warn citizens not to be fooled by Imbert's goody-goody budget talk. Don't be fooled by their location figures, because under this PNM, promises never materialize. PNM, promises never materialize. The biggest challenge is the releasing of funds in a timely manner. This never happened before, and this must never happen again. I am calling on the government, come this next fiscal year, 2022-2023, budget, we expect to see promises materialize. We expect to see that the Tunapuna-Piarco Regional Corporation gets an increase in the budget allocation because we are the largest of most that face challenges. I say enough is enough. The PNM must go. Let us take back our country and restore economic stability, safety, and good governance. And this can only happen under Kamala Persad-Bissessar and the UNC. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jalen. Let's hear it for Councillor Jalen again. And you hear all this, and you have plenty more, you know. Colin Burt say he raised gas 3 times, and we ain't riot yet, and gas going and raise again. What about the young people, unemployment? And you know, we as the program go along, you will hear many more vibrant speakers. I want to call on Senator Damian Lyda this evening. Let's bring him to the podium, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair Lady. And of course, Brother Saddam Hussein, who's here with us tonight, our honorable political leader, and all of my colleagues here, and most of all the people of Tunapuna and Arima. This place is packed tonight, so I'm looking forward to a great meeting. Brothers and sisters and supporters, I welcome you to this budget consultation. And let me start off by saying that the real purpose of these proceedings is to give you, the people, an opportunity to speak. Speak to us the persons who will be representing you in the upcoming budget debate. You know, in speaking to an economist recently, he gave me the most profound feedback and piece of advice on how to research and become prepared for this upcoming budget presentation, taking into account the fact that we have to go to battle with this wicked PNM government. He said to me, if you really want to understand the true economic situation in this country, the financial health of this economy, you don't have to listen to this government come to you with some mama guy in that farce that they call the spotlight on the economy. But what you should be doing, Senator Lyda, is going into the banks, going into the retail stores, the small and micro and medium businesses, going to the supermarkets and going to the average man's home and speak to him. Let him tell you what he feels about this economy. Let him tell you how safe he feels walking in the streets of Trinidad and Tobago today. Let him tell you how hard it is to survive under this wicked PNM government and this crashed economy caused by invert politics. Let him tell you how hard it is to survive, and because it is the people of Trinidad and Tobago who are actually feeling the pain, not those politicians and government members. This is why we are here today, brothers and sisters. This is why the majority of this evening will be about listening to you, listening to you, the citizens. Because the United National Congress is a people-centered party, led by a compassionate leader, a caring leader by the name of Kamala Persad-Bissessar. Let's give a round of applause to our leader. Let us look at the facts. When we were listening to Colin Burt and that clown leader of his in the spotlight of the economy, one would have thought the country was doing fantastic, yeah? One would have thought that businesses are booming. Employment is at its highest level. People are walking around safe and secure in the streets of Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago has weathered the storm. We have turned the corner. Loosen up your belt is what Imber telling you. But you, the people of Tunapuna and Arima, Districts that are compact with businesses, manufacturing, retail, agriculture, even tourism. You know that the only thing that is saving this country today from total economic collapse is the blood of those persons in Ukraine who are dying in this inhumane war that is taking place and that is driving energy prices up. For how long though? What happens when the energy prices go right back down to where they were before? What happens if this war ends? What has the People's National Movement done to diversify this economy outside of the energy sector and to help secure the future of the people and the business people of Tunapuna and Arima? What have they done? Because every businessman in this room today and through the length and breadth of this country can affirm that it is more difficult to conduct business here today than it's ever been in the history of Trinidad and Tobago under this PNM government. Imbert will make you believe that foreign exchange is a wash, right? He tell you $1 billion coming in more a month in TT. He will tell you that. But every businessman knows that you have to line up for $500 if you can get that much a week. I personally, as a businessman, I have to open up 6 different bank accounts with 6 different banks just to get enough US, and I'm still falling short. So what is Imbert talking about? Ladies and gentlemen, every businessman can affirm that they feel more unsafe today in their business places than they've ever felt in their lives. We experience murders that are on track for 600 murders. Double-digit growth in serious crime. And robberies taking place on a daily basis in businesses. Bandits coming off the streets and robbing people. You are now forced to spend more money now in surveillance equipment, in security guards. Money you could have used to expand your businesses. And just imagine Heinz comes to you and comes on and tells us that guns are flowing in and out of the country through the illegal and legal ports. Well, thank you, Captain Obvious. You woke up and you stated the obvious to us. But if that's the case, what happened to the $600 million spent on those 2 hostile vessels? Remember when the Prime Minister told you all he could sleep good at night? What happened to those 2 hostile vessels that are supposed to secure our borders? Why are our borders so porous? And now, Heinz is telling you he's not happy with the police service. We saw that in the media this week. But your party is the party that interfered with the selection process of the Commissioner of Police, causing a complete collapse of the Police Service Commission, resulting in no substantive leadership in the TTPS since then. Not to mention the lack of funding to the TTPS. No increase in a policeman's salary since 2013 when Kamala Persad-Bissessar was the Prime Minister. That was the last time they got an increase. And you have the gall to come here and tell us that you're not satisfied with the TTPS and the protective services? But let's get straight back to business because my time is limited. We know that the ease of doing business in this country is at an all-time worst, low level. Just to get Wassa, T&Tech, Tongan Country is painful. You all know that. If you're in business, you know that. To get access funding from banks as a small business is almost impossible. They want your arm and your leg. You all know that. The cost of operation of everything has gone up in this country. We heard the last speaker talk about fuel going up 4 times. And in that spotlight of the economy, they are hinting to you that they're coming to raise it again. Be prepared. Go pack up your can. Your 2 feet is what you're going to have to use going forward. And let me tell you, traffic congestion, or let's see the traffic between Tunapuna and Arima, hampering your businesses in this area. School children waiting for you to pick them up an hour late. And I've already told you about crime and how that affects business in this country. And if that is not enough, under this Imbert government, he comes with taxes to continue taxing and depleting your already small profits. And then he's already warned you that he's coming with that property tax, so more tax again. That's what the PNM has given you. Now, as I come to a close, I want to talk very quickly about tourism. The Tunapuna, Piako, and Arima municipalities are home to a vibrant domestic tourism product. From the Azerite Nature Center to the Lopino Estate, to many restaurants, spas, small, medium accommodation facilities in hotels and so on dot the landscape throughout this eastern region. Therefore, as I close, allow me to respond to statements reported in the Sunday Guardian this weekend from the Minister of Tourism and Culture when faced with the criticisms from key stakeholders that the tourism sector is being neglected. Remember, I told you all they have done nothing to diversify this economy. So they questioned the Minister of Tourism. So the Minister of Tourism, Randall Mitchell, instead of treating with the complaints of the Trinidad and Tobago Incoming Tour Operators Association, he chose to take personal issue with their spokesperson, who happened to be the president, Ms. Lorraine Pouchette, claiming that she belongs to an opposing political party. So what? So what party she belongs to? We in a democratic society. You put party before country. You don't want to take her on. Furthermore, the minister did not consider the views of another stakeholder, the small tourism accommodations owner of Trinidad and Tobago. This association was represented by Ms. Denise Aliong, and Ms. Aliong complained that they have not been consulted, and there are many businesses in this sector that have been shut down as a result. Additionally, stakeholders raised questions about the hotel school and the fact that the cruise ship industry is about to start, and they've heard nothing coming out of the Ministry of Tourism. So let me conclude that this government has demonstrated disdain for the tourism sector. They have not consulted with them, as they don't consult with the business community either. There is no expressed plan to help businesses in the hospitality and tourism space to reopen post-pandemic. And ultimately, no government that is serious about tourism would shut down the main institution for skills acquisition in this sector, which was the Trinidad and Tobago Hospitality and Tourism Institute. So when they tell you they care about tourism, they mamaga you and they lie. They take away the education. Statistically, the central bank reported that the arts, entertainment, and recreation, together with the accommodation and food service sectors, contributed $2.67 billion to the GDP, down from $3 billion in 2015 under Kamala Persad-Bissessar regime, which means that the minister is ignoring the plight of the tourism sector operators. He is putting at risk a valuable contribution to our national economy. So this is why, brothers and sisters, we are consulting with you, the stakeholders tonight of Tunapuna, Piako, and Arima. We are giving you a voice. We will be taking down notes and information from all of you all tonight, and we will be representing your interests in the upcoming budget. So I say to you as I close, long live Kamala Persad-Bissessar, long live the United National Congress, and long live the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you.
Thank you, Senator Lida. Powerful man there, people. So, right, we're going straight ahead. We want to bring on Dr. Lincoln Douglas, a former MP for Lopino Borneo West, to bring greetings.
You want to come a little closer? You want to come this side? Come this side. I will turn the camera here on this side. Take the mic from there.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to ladies and gentlemen, to the Honorable Leader, my colleague Kamala Prasad Bisesa, everyone here, thanks for coming and thanks for inviting me to be part of this occasion. No one leaves politics unscathed there, just to let you know. I got out of office in 2015, and by 2018, I had a couple of strokes and a heart attack. But who knows? Nevertheless, I was the member of the Minister of Arts and Multiculturalism. And so today again, I want to talk to you about the role of culture in development and how this country has, particularly this PNM administration, has refused to pay attention to the arts, even though they continue to pretend that they involve in the arts and they are supportive of pan-men and culture and all kind of thing. This PNM administration has no interest whatsoever in developing this country. I can tell you that, in developing this country. When I use the word culture, I'm not using it in the narrow sense like culture is pan, or culture is chutney, or culture is calypso. I'm using culture in the broad sense, in the ultimate meaning of the word, that culture is the lifestyle, culture is the life of the people. Culture is the very terrain upon which we walk. Culture is the very foundation of our development. Just today I was reading about Tupac. And as I said Tupac, most of you are thinking about the rapper called Tupac. I'm not thinking about the rapper called Tupac. I'm thinking about the Aztec warrior and leader whose name is Tupac. And the reason we know that he is Tupac, and the reason we know that the Aztecs lived, is because they left their culture in writing and great pyramids and all those things in order for us to be able to read today. So while white people were still, and the Caucasian race was still eating one another in the Caucasus Mountains, the native Incas and the Aztecs had already built skyscrapers and all that stuff already. When they went down to South America, they decided they're going to destroy all these things because no culture less civilized than them could build all these great things. So they decided to destroy all these great skyscrapers and things. So what I'm telling you this evening is that culture is the very foundation upon which we walk, and to the extent that we cannot solve the culture of Trinidad and Tobago is to the extent that we cannot solve crime. Because let's think about it. If I decide to, let's say I get a crazy streak and I decide to kill one of you all in here, then the police can't stop me. Because the police not here, one of you all might stop me. But if I act fast, I can still do it. The point is, the only thing that could really stop me is that because from small, my mother teach me that you mustn't hurt another human being, you mustn't kill somebody, you must learn to love. And that is the culture, right? The culture is the foundation. In other words, when I was studying in the United States, a guy came to Trinidad and he came back to the States from my class. But he didn't know that I was a Trinidadian, so he was talking to the class about his journey over the summer. And he was saying to them, boy, I just come back from a country called Trinidad and Tobago. He said, when I tell them people friendly, they're friendly. He said, when I tell you about friendly, we have nothing in America that is compared to that. Just so he's talking, you know. He doesn't know that I am from Trinidad and Tobago, but he's just telling the class about his journey. He talk about something coming from the airport and somebody meet him and take him home and treat him so well and all kinds of stuff. And in my mind, I'm saying, wow, that is the culture of Trinidad and Tobago, of friendly people who will take care of any stranger and treat them well and make sure they're taken care of. Just before I left the States to come back to Trinidad, another guy came to Trinidad and came back to the class reporting. And if you hear him, boy, just come back from a country there, boy. Damn people crazy in that country, boy. Anything goes, you know. Anything going. And this is in a space of 10 years, you know. In a space of 10 years, we have gone to one of the most friendly and loving people to the most craziest and crazy country in the world. Culture is the very foundation upon which we walk on. And any country that does not pay attention to culture will eventually find themselves lost and gone astray. Trust me, when Mao Zedong had decided that he would close off China from the rest of the world, everybody said he was mad and nobody wasn't taking him on. 30, 40 years later, China has now emerged as a world power, right? Everything we wearing and eating and buying come from China. They know what they were doing. They were taking time to develop their culture. I mean, Mao Zedong was a despot and a kind of madman, right? But he knew what he was doing in terms of focusing on his people and helping them to be well developed and to be into themselves and understand who they are. So we are adrift in the world. A few years ago, I went to China with the National Steel Symphony Orchestra, and we played the steel pan for the Minister of Culture in China, Mr. Chow. And when we finished, as soon as the man finished playing the pan, the secretary to the Minister of Culture ran up to me and said, "Oh, you could make a lot of money with this boy." Now, that's how they think. She then calculated in mind that we have 1.8 million people here in China. If we sell at least 1% of this, that will be almost a million or 1.8 million pan we selling a year or something. And if we sell, last night I called my friend Pagai, and I said, Pagai, how much was a steel pan, boy? How much for a 10 pan? He said, oh gosh, boy. He said, well, anywhere between $1,000 to $10,000. A steel pan? $1,000 to $10,000? I have put forward, when I was the Minister of Culture, I have put forward the idea that Trinidad could live on steel pan alone. Alone. Listen, we went to Nigeria, right, with phase 2. And phase 2 play. And before they finished play, the Minister of Education said, I want this thing in every school in Nigeria. You know what that is? I asked him how much a pan side will cost. He said a pan side costs about $1 million. You know there's almost 1 million schools in Nigeria. Nigeria alone has over 200 million people. Can you imagine that? You're talking about we ain't have no foreign exchange, no foreign currency. Steel pan alone, can you imagine selling a couple of pans, a pan side every year or every month or something? $100 million. But we have treated our culture, and this is not what we call culture, is what I call artifacts, right? These are the things we make because of our culture. Can you imagine if we had taken that center they call up there that they made, the Tamana Intech Park, and they had made that a center for the development and the creation of our artifacts, our culture? Let me share next statistics with you. There are 125 carnivals, Trinidad-style carnivals, throughout the world. When I was in office, Nigeria alone had started 4. The Minister of Culture came here for 5 years straight, and then went back to Nigeria and started 4 carnivals. And that was in Nigeria alone. There were requests coming in every day for they want a carnival. And all we have to do is start these carnivals in Vegas. And all these carnivals were started by ordinary citizens like you and me, who went to Alaska and said, oh gosh, but I wish they had a carnival in Alaska. I got to start a carnival, yes? And just so they start a carnival. And we have these things going on in 125 countries all over the world. And we don't know how to market this. We have 225 industries coming from steel pan alone. We're talking about getting youth involved and getting young people involved, something to do so that they wouldn't be on the streets. All right, I ran out of time because when I started to talk about culture, you know, I get terribly excited and I get out of time, you know? Because I have my doctorate is in cultural studies, you know? So I get very excited. But I want to say, finally, in my last point, culture is the only thing that could encourage or involve the most among the people from the most different shades of life. In other words, you could get an old lady, you could get a little boy to stick a feather on her hat, right? So culture is that can involve the most among the people in the quickest space of time, for the least investment, for the best and the most efficient return in the quickest space of time. In other words, when you invest $1 million in gas and oil, you don't get any rewards until the next 5 years, you know. If you invest $1 million in culture, you get $10 million next week. Because the moment you make something, you can sell it, right? We can make a pan in 1 month, and that's selling for $1,000, $10,000 next week. So, I should, I'll talk some more next time.
Let's hear it for Dr. Lincoln Douglas. Thank you. So we move in. I want to call a hard-working counselor for Kora Paradise Tagarigua, Councillor Sukdev Prakash Bharat, to bring greetings.
Pleasant good night to everyone here. Political leader of the United National Congress, Kamala Prasad Bisesa. MP Saddam Hussein, who is here and who has been leading these consultations from the time it started. I want to give him a round of applause for these wonderful consultations that the United National Congress has been having throughout the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago. And you know why we've been having these consultations? Because United National Congress cares about people. We are people-oriented, people-centered, people-minded. Because we care about you and we want you to know what a disastrous job the People's National Movement has been doing for the last 7 years in this country. Totally wrecked this country. To our councillors from the TPRC, I say hello. Our minority leader is here. Other councillors who are here. You are our special guests who are here. And the normal man who will come here today and speak to you about the performance of the PNM. I want to tell, first of all, I want to tell the Minister of Finance, don't come and bring no budget for us again with no pie in the sky thing now. Don't rehash no figures. Every year there's come with these budgets. And there's a set of rehashing of these figures, a sort of high figures, and a set of programs that they will never achieve, budget after budget after budget. You will hear in Parliament when our MPs go to reply, and you will hear them saying that. Let us bring a realistic budget that is meaningful to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. That every district, I am the councillor for Kora Paradise Tacarigua. And I want to tell you, a kitchen man nanan in TPRC. It's not easy. We don't have nothing. When I say nothing, I mean literally nothing. The minority leader would have alerted you to some of the things that is taking place in this corporation. I want to tell you that the people of TPRC has been suffering for the last 3 years and probably the last 6 years under the TPRC when nothing is happening. Absolutely nothing is happening. I am really concerned about poverty alleviation in my district. My people suffering. Mothers cannot feed their children. Single parents, single fathers, unemployed people within a home. They don't have money to buy food. Mr. Minister, I am saying to you today, all these beautiful, wonderful phrases you will come. I want to tell you, people in our districts are suffering. My budgets are suffering. I have had to go on numerous hamper drives. I have had to dip into my pocket and other people beg to ensure that people can feed themselves. Do you know what it is? It's a disgrace for a man in his house not to be able to put food on his table for his family. And under the UNC, this was not happening. You all are certainly aware between 10 and 15, we had so many social programs in place. The Ministry of the People was in place. What kind of Ministry of the People we have now? Ministry of nothing. They don't care about nobody. They don't care about Cora Paradise, Tacarigua. They don't care about the people that live in those areas. And I'm calling on the Minister of Finance, please, in your budget presentation, study the people, the cries of the people. Study that people can't eat while you are eating, while you're going all over the world and traveling and so. All these big meetings, nice, you know. But when you come back and you're presenting your budget, remember, single mothers can't even buy books. So when you used to buy a whole chicken, you're buying half now. A whole bread, quarter. You can't make 2 roti again. You're making half a roti and all you have to eat from that. That is what's going on in Trinidad and Tobago. If you're real and if you want to face the facts, that is the situation of this country at this present point in time. And so no budget, but no highfalutin thing all coming. I know it's had to present all the figures and so, but study the people in our districts. And what are leading to in Tunapuna? Somebody alerted it. Tunapuna has a high crime rate. The murders in Tunapuna are so high. I think if you take the figures in Tunapuna now, it is about the highest in the land right now. And why is that happening? In Bamboo, Trace, in Tunapuna, we have had numerous murders. Achong Trace, numerous murders. Madu Hill, numerous murders. This is happening right here in Tunapuna. Spend some money, Mr. Finance Minister, fixing the crime situation. Our people are afraid to come out of their homes. There was a report in the papers, I didn't write it. There was a report in the papers recently which said people are literally bounded into their homes. They're not coming out. So I am saying to the Finance Minister, help us with the crime situation. Stop the bloodshedding. Deal with the police. See what the police need. See what the army needs. See what the justice system needs to ensure that our people are safe in their homes. Because nobody's safe in this country. Absolutely nobody's safe in this country. There are 4 economists who made a report in the papers again. I didn't say so. Kamala Prasad Bisesa didn't say so. 4 economists who said that this country is worse off today than it was since 2015. I didn't say that. 4 economists who would know those figures, they said those things. Look at our infrastructure in Tunapuna. Roads crumbling. In Cora, where Terrence lives, Terrence right there, he will tell you, he's a farmer, he's lost thousands of dollars in floods. The roads are in bad state of disrepair. Spend some money, Mr. Finance Minister, to the corporation so we can patch our holes. I submitted a list of 200 potholes in my district. And so far, after 3 years, the chairman and the corporation was only able to fix 13 of those potholes. How am I answering to my burgess? What am I telling my burgesses? Every day they're calling me, this pothole here and that pothole here, this drain here, that drain here. So fix the holes, Aban. Patch up the holes. Get some money. All you have money, all you say the thing's nice. $8 billion. Not so, Senator Damian Leiter? $8 billion, they say, extra revenue. But nothing for the poor man. Nothing for the small man. Medium-sized business gone through. Middle class in Tunapuna gone through. Think about it. You all are facing it every single day. What about this in Bamboo? The bridge breakdown, I asked you to repair it. Spend some money, fix the bridge. At Chong Trace, when it flooded, the whole place is water. The whole place, people lost everything. Fridge, stove, bed, everything. I asked you all to fix that. Nothing. So I'm saying to you today, we are in a bad position in this country. Our budget must reflect the needs of the people. Crime has to be solved. Poverty must be solved. Spend some time, spend some money on the people of Trinidad and Tobago, that we will have a better life, that our children will have a better life. I thank you and God bless you.
That's the passion of Councillor Barrett. And I know all councillors facing that same thing. You know, I want to, let us give Councillor Barrett a wonderful, hard-working councillor. A councillor for the people. Our political leader, the Honorable Kamala Persad-Bissessar, told us to serve the people. And that's what all UNC councillors and aldermen does, serve our community. So I want to bring our next hard councillor before you, Councillor Richard Rampasad. Bring greetings for you.
Thank you, Alderman Bishop. Honorable political leader, Member of Parliament, MP Hussein, senators, ex-senator, councillors, aldermen, and all attendees here, good night. I stand before you today maintaining the philosophy and practice of people-centered development of the United National Congress, all the while expressing my utter discontent with the PNM's continued dire performance in office. It is clear that the PNM administration has exhibited geographical discrimination as they continue to maintain deaf ears to the pleas for change and development within my electoral district of St. Augustine South, Piarco, St. Helena. More than often, we wonder whether the current agents of our nation's administration are equipped with the proper cognitive abilities, those which are needed to effectively maintain a country. Nonetheless, over the past 7 years, this administration has left several messages, phone calls, and pleas on behalf of my Burgesses unheard and blatantly ignored. This nation has tolerated 7 years of neglect, failures, and severe contempt from this PNM administration. Every day, Burgesses within my electoral district are overwhelmed with dilapidated roads, drainage, and other infrastructural challenges. For more than 2 years, we have been calling upon the Ministry of Works, Drainage Division to provide infrastructural relief to several water courses within my area and many other communities within the municipality of the TPRC region. We are well into the rainy season for the year, and this has subsequently caused massive flooding and a plethora of drainage issues throughout several communities. Numerous residents have been burdened with damages to property, destruction of crops, and even livestock. Tonight, I am asking the government to make the necessary budgetary allocations to local government so that we can execute the necessary infrastructural work to provide relief to our Burgesses. This government's main priority should be the economic well-being of our nation's people. However, it seems to be a far-fetched concept within their game plan. For 7 years and counting, Trinidad and Tobago has not witnessed any visible change of approach from this PNM, but rather reports that reflect party apathy and deflection. You know, they're known for distractions. Our country's macroeconomy is severely declining, and citizens continue to face the brunt of high unemployment rates as well as the overwhelming cost of living. How do we mitigate this significant issue when this government insists on appealing to the public with outdated initiatives and lackadaisical behaviors, the backward mentality of this regime? The role of any government is to seek and implement ways to resolve the challenges facing their respective nation, all while identifying, developing, corrective measures. The PNM's inefficient allocation of funds, as well as the non-release of funds to regional cooperation, has led to the crumbling of rural development throughout the nation. You know, instead of implementing initiatives to aid the public, this government actively chose to cease operations of our refinery, and they are now hiking up fuel prices, subsidies, groceries, as well as certain public utility bills. My electoral district continues to face serious unemployment, and more specifically, underemployment of our youth. As we know, the greatest resource of any country is its human resource. Due to this government's backwards mindset, it is crucial that we equip our youth with skills for employment, respectable work, and entrepreneurship. As we are currently on the socio-economic recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic, it is imperative that technical and vocational education and training be amplified and provided for young persons in our country. The challenges of unemployment, poverty, as well as rising inequality will be alleviated once this thoughtless government begins to integrate dialogue and enabling more employment opportunities between our young and our young and our not so young. The citizens of this country deserve a government that takes their duty and responsibilities seriously. It deserves an administration that brings meaningful action, development, and long-term solutions to the table. It is undeniable that this country has lost all confidence in this government, and rightfully so. Lawful citizens need more than false reassurances. They require an administration that provides credible policies, action, and effective solutions, rather than sweet words that temporarily pacify the crowd. The UNC, our great party, has always led with a community approach to governance. We respect the voices of our people and continue to implement and integrate ways for our burgesses to contribute to the betterment of their communities and for Trinidad and Tobago as a whole. We stand ready and willing to deliver the manifesto commitment to the people as a step forward in maintaining the future sustainability of our country and its citizens. I once again call on the Prime Minister and their respective ministers to stop the disregard of these communities and to finally commit to mending these social and infrastructural issues for my burgesses and by extension the entire region, as well as acknowledging our pleas and inputs for proposed resolutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rampasad. So I want to say thanks to TPRC. Let us give TPRC a loud. So these are my councillors. These are the guys, along with the minority leader, that we sit in council and demand service for our burgesses. But what we get? All talk, no money. You remember the $500 grant for single mothers? Why we have our single mothers lining up on the highway with placard, begging? Prime Minister, all these questions is for you. Why our single mothers, why our parents, fathers, why our young people unemployed? Why crime so rampant in our country? If you can't do the work, move aside and get the UNC. Come down from there, Rowley. So I want to bring on a strong man before you tonight, and I want you to real big him up for me, MP Saddam for Sawa Barataria.
Thank you very much, Olaman and Bishop. She may have the name Smalley, but she have a very large voice. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My colleague, Senator Damian Lyda, former Senator Tahaka Obika, former Minister Dr. Lincoln Douglas, who has joined us. I see our party General Secretary, Mr. Peter Kanhai, is here, and our party PRO, Dr. Kirk Megu, has joined us. And I welcome all of the people of the Arima Borough Corporation and those joining us from the Tunapuna Piako Regional Corporation. And as you know that through the National Executive, I was mandated to have these consultations throughout Trinidad in order to find out exactly what is the pulse of the people, what recommendations and issues that you all have that you would want us to voice as your elected representatives in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. And so far we have traveled from Chaguanas to Couva to Superior to Point Fortin. We went to Sangre Grande. We were all over the country, and tonight we join you right here in Arima. And we want to hear exactly what the people of Arima has to say. We want to hear what the people of Tunapuna Piako has to say. And all that you say tonight will be recorded, and it will form part of the response of the Leader of the Opposition and also the other members of Parliament and senators when we respond to Budget 2023. And on my way here, I can really see the struggles, the incompetence, and the nonsense that takes place in Trinidad and Tobago. On the Golden Grove Road, there is a prison. And when I was driving along that road, I realized it had some traffic. And what was causing this traffic? When I realized that it's a single lane bridge right in the vicinity of the prison, the maximum security prison in Trinidad and Tobago. Do you understand the security risk that you put this country under when you have that kind of infrastructure existing? Can you imagine if there's a prison break and the police, the prison officers has to get there at a certain time, at a certain pace, that they have to sit down in traffic and wait for the traffic light to change to cross a bridge? I mean, get real. Get real. And this exists under Minister Rohan Sinanan, and the most incompetent minister we could have ever gotten, Minister Fitzgerald Hines, as Minister of National Security. But while they drag their feet on that project, tonight I want to let you all know something. A question was filed by my colleague for Naparima in the Parliament. One question he filed to ask, you remember when the Prime Minister went to Los Angeles recently for the Summit of the Americas? You all remember that? Yeah. So we asked, well, how much did this trip cost? Do you know what the trip cost the taxpayers of Trinidad and Tobago? $0.68 million. Let me repeat that. The trip that the Prime Minister took together with his delegation to get to Los Angeles cost the taxpayers $0.68 million, while you have a single lane bridge in the vicinity of the prison in Trinidad and Tobago. Could you imagine that? The Prime Minister alone racked up a bill of almost $140,000. Minister Amory Brown, around $85,000. Stuart Young, around $85,000. Brigadier General Anthony W.J. Philip Spencer, $60,000. Mr. Kirk Francois, $38,000. Ms. Urvashi Ramnarayan, $38,000. Mr. Trushen, $50,000. Mrs. Joanne Brahma, $25,000. Ms. Abby Brathwaite, $38,000. Mr. Ken Sambury, he got $38,000, and you know what his job spec is? The videographer. So probably somebody making TikTok and Facebook video, $38,000. Franklin Batson, $38,000. Kerwin Ramnath, $48,000. While you don't have money in the corporation to fix a pothole, while you don't have money in the corporation to fix box drain, while you complain that we don't have money for food cards and baby grants and school textbooks, you could spray all over the place with taxpayers' money and you are not accountable. But I have said enough tonight. You will hear me more in the Parliament when I respond to the budget. But my job here tonight is really to facilitate the rest of the program, where we hear from the individuals from the various corporations. So the next person I would like to call on is Mr. Rigsby, who has indicated to us that he will be speaking on some matters of the economy. And this is the open forum so that you, the members of the public, will be able to express your views. So, Mr. Rigsby, I'd ask you to join me.
Thank you, Chairwoman, Chairman Saddam Hussein. Good night to members of the head table, former senators, Damian Ida, and all the things. And I want to, you hear me now? Right, and I'll say a warm welcome to the executive of Arima and W. Mira, right? Cool. Now, what I want to talk about today is everybody here already make the comments of the PNM government failing. The PNM government failing. But the problem is, if you, as our Prime Minister, and you do not have intellectual rigor in your parliament, what will happen? You will get the problems you're getting. So that is why the UNC will fix that problem, because we in the UNC party has the intellectual rigor to deal with it and fix all the problems. But more than that, all my speakers talking about food, complaining about price of goods, and you have to wait 20 for 20 Umira to get food, and people can buy half a chicken, but they're buying the 4 pieces of breastbone, and right? Now, as you know, food prices have soared in the last 2 years, right? Now, citizens in the country being unable to afford food items. In fact, split peas has risen by 97% from 2020 to 2022. Peas and carrots, 63%. Lentils, 78%. And pigtail, everybody loves pigtail, 82%. Okay? No problem. No problem. We know the causes. We had the COVID-19 for 2 years that impact logistics, shipping, all those costs. And then we had the Ukraine war, right? And one thing, what I want to tell you is China was monopolizing purchasing. So what was happening is that when we in the Caribbean wanted 20 containers of beef, China was buying 1,000 containers of beef at higher prices. So China, again, anything that was really fighting to secure the populations, I mean, you can't vex them. They are a country trying to secure the populations. So that impacted our prices for us, right? Now, how do we attempt to ease the burden and the suffering of our people and the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago? Firstly, I want to present some recommendations, because all these speakers talk about the problems we had before. We know what's the problem. Let us attempt to fix it. And I want to propose this now to the Minister of Finance. This is what we want to propose. We all are aware of plastic bags. They continue to destroy the environment, soil, and marine ecosystems. We can join the world by banning plastic bags or put a heavy fine on the use of plastic bags, and we could move to biodegradable bags. Very cheap, $1 to produce. Okay? This is where we're going. This is where the world is going. Okay? Wise one. Okay? Now. All right? Trinidad and Tobago must now take the lead in the purpose of innovation and creativity. We always speak about innovation, creativity, and problem solving. As it stands, no part of the world increases corporation tax. You know that? Only in Trinidad and Tobago, we increase corporation tax by 30%. You know what's the corporation tax in England? Anybody want to tell me? Anybody? 19%. That is corporation tax, and which is corporation tax. What we do in Trinidad and Tobago, corporation tax is paid when you make revenue or profit in excess of $1 million. You pay corporation tax. In England, is 19%. In fact, when Donald Trump took over in 2017, he reduced it to 21%. We are the only country that increased corporation tax. What I mean by corporation tax, really? Well, corporation tax allows, when you reduce corporation tax, businesses have more money for spending, they can hire more infrastructure, they can move, so it creates employment. That increases the circular flow of income. Okay? Now, and the Rowley administration is offering 4% for salaries. Everybody cool with that? And nobody want that, because we know that inflation is really up high. We talk about food prices, we now mention the cost. But inflation is very high. But what you can do to move it? And then as my friend Saddam was saying, we don't have no money. Well, I want to recommend, right, They can move the 84,000 tax threshold and raise it to 100,000 in the next budget. What I will do, you will now have more disposable income to buy more things. Again, multiplier effect. Let that money circulate in the economy. You're releasing people's spending power. Okay? Now, whenever oil prices are low, the PNM administration always talk about diversification. In fact, you remember when he had the pak choy on TV and video and it was COVID and he had a pak choy and agriculture and he said, no, this thing has to go now and we have to move on agriculture. That is what they did. He talked up to now, I ain't seen nothing since that. Anybody see the pak choy? No. Not one pak choy. But he planted pak choy with a nice Gucci watch and he goes and take a picture. He even want to close to fool people. So anyhow, what I want to recommend is that, right, when oil gas prices get high now, nobody talking that again. The PNM anthem is to spend. As you say, my partner traveling all over the world, and he blamed the former Miss Kamala Persessa for traveling it. He used to quarrel about that. What are you going to do? The evidence is there, right? No. Can we produce rice now? Can we produce sugar now? Can we produce corn now? Because corn is used to make cornflakes and other staples for the economy to feed chickens and things. We don't have it, right? No agriculture. But I sure under UNC government, I sure that they could revive agriculture and give the farmers the credit due. Okay? Now, we approximately we import $1 billion TT in French fries. All you know what French fries is chips. We fry chips every day. And if you don't know the source of the data, I will give you the source of the data. Okay? We import $1 billion in French fries. Okay? The largest producer of French fries that import is the KFC franchise. Okay? Now, the tax the government gets on that is over $600 million. It's not 600 million. We are proposing that they take that $600 million and give the farmers it in technology, improve their productive capacity, and let them know, look at substitutes, breadfruit, bananas, cassava, and sweet potatoes. So that $600 million that they get in tax, that they don't tell you all, they can give the farmers it to improve the productive capacity in substitute, which will help now reduce our health of the population. Because we know that when we like French fries, it's easy to make income. So that is a balance we have to do. But again, we have to look at our health, right? Now, when it comes to pasta now is 1%. The 1%, there's a certain company that has the right of pasta products. And those pasta products, they receive a discounted tax. All right? So we could fix that. I see I got my time coming. So as I get my signal, so let me try my best. So give me my time. Now, imported chicken costs 50 cents US per pound. Right? And then now, when you add all the taxes, it's $5.44 per pound. In Trinidad and Tobago, local chicken is $18 a pound. And nobody asks the question, what is the disparity with respect to the local producers and the imported? I want those people who produce local chicken to be transparent and open their books to show why the price is $18 versus imported chicken with all the taxes is $5.44 per pound. That's $80. Okay, finally, freight and cargo. Freight and cargo went up to, we know that with the cost it went up to, so freight and cargo, how this calculation and Tobago is, freight is $20,000, right? And then you have the cargo cost is 22 is freight and 20,000, that is $44,000. And then now, the government takes a 20% tax and VAT on that. Hence the price of goods. What I am telling the Minister of Finance to do is cut the freight costs. Because in the freight costs in other countries, right? Myanmar cap it off, right? Canada and the US cut the freight costs to ease the food prices for their populations. Okay, so it is hoped that the Rowley administration consider removing that. and to make the people better. And this is my final, because I got my 5 minutes up, so I have to leave. So, okay? Thanks for hearing me, and enjoy your night. And God bless the United National Congress.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rigsby. I think that was a very comprehensive, powerful presentation with some very good ideas. The next person I want to call to the podium is Mr. Terence Haywood, who will speak a little bit to us about agriculture.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll put on my glasses. All protocols observed. Yes, thank you for inviting me here to talk something on agriculture, because I'm a farmer myself. And the first thing I have to say is that farmers had to come first, before anything. Second thing I want to say is DC's Ken Valley say that we have plenty money and we could buy food. We have no money now. How we go buy the food? Mr. Chairman, the situation, rising prices of food, 2, high cost of inputs, 3, looming shortages. We are in this situation not because of COVID, not because of the rising Ukraine war. We in this to the neglect of agriculture, food production over the past 60 years. 60 years is depending on food from abroad. And when we say we taken from abroad, you know who is the people and them bringing in food. You know who is the government just give them the majority, I think, they're bringing in food. The 1%. Food and agriculture has to become the top priority in transforming of the economy. No more less than 1% of the national budget. Money has to be spent on what? Flood relief, irrigation, go hand in hand. And just recently, my councillor just said, we have so much rain in Cora that it's flooding out. We have snails that eating out everything that thing. Right now, as I speak, a pound of pumpkin in the wholesale market is $6. What we go eat? What we go eat? Our okra is $1 for one. A pimento is $1 for one. So what we doing? So we say in agriculture had to come first. Food first before anything else after. Irrigation, right. Crop insurance. Why we say crop insurance? Crop insurance is a thing that we always want. Because since in the People's Partnership Government, we sat down in a committee in the Ministry of Agriculture dealing with crop insurance. And this is sitting down in the Ministry of Agriculture in some, I don't know where it is now, they must be thrown it in some box. And we sit down for about some good weeks dealing with crop insurance. Why we say crop insurance? Because instead of this petty little money they're giving you, and you're getting, they say they're giving you when you get flood damage. But flood damage is a thing that when flood comes, who getting it? It's only the people on the ground, on the flat getting it. But if we have crop insurance, people on the hill and all our surroundings will come into it. Because you have pests and disease in everything. And why we say crop insurance again, and this is something real good for us, as we saying, is that what we can do You know, every time you get flood damage, the government have to take money and put it out and give farmers. This can give farmers. And if we could bring the crop insurance and let all farmers come into that crop insurance, and you put their vehicles and the houses in that crop insurance. You know, we just do insurance for our vehicles and for the year, we don't get back nothing. But if we put it in this crop insurance, get all the farmers and think they go in the crop insurance, anything happen to the farmers, you can take the money from there and give farmers something. So we will, in the National Food Crop Farmers, we will like to see something like this. All right. Closely related to in this global issue, climate change upon us. Farmers have been feeling the change first hand because we getting these snails and them coming. We getting plenty pests and diseases. We getting plenty rain. So it's really hard on us. Really, really hard on us. Have been feeling the changes first, right? Proliferation, rest diseases and all. The Ministry of Agriculture, in close collaboration for the Faculty of Agriculture, UWI, must oversee the research, data collection, scientific study, diagnose, recommend, and applicable and technology. We say we want that because we have so many young people in UAE. We have so many people coming out of all these institutions. We can use them. We can use them for the technology, to do the technology. We can use that. We always say too that in every county, we would like to see an agronomist. Because why we want an agronomist in every county is that when the farmer gets his disease plant, he could go to the agronomist and deal with it. But you know right now, he had to go to the garden shop, and the garden shop will tell him, plant, use this and use that. So that is part of the thing we want in our budget, our thing, right? In this regard, the extension officers, right now, as I speak today to yesterday, that what happening now is that all the extension officers are inside. Imagine you go and train as an extension officer, and instead you come and put your hand in the soil and see what's happening with the farmer. You can tell him something, if extension officer inside. So please put in your money. Youth in agriculture, training and production, you know, and training and lecturing. So please, we want good money for agriculture, you know. Long live agriculture.
Thank you very much, Mr. Haywood, for that presentation. I think you had some very good recommendations there that will be, in fact, recorded. Next, I'd like to call on Mr. Michael Cromwell, who will speak to us in the sector of sports.
Good evening, one and all. Good evening to all the representatives and all the good people who made the extra effort to come out here. I know it's not hard to do things in the middle of the week. All right, so we're going to be talking about sport. I'm sure everybody here at some point in time played sport. Sport is an important part of our growing up. But I want to ask you all something really, really important. Anybody remember Southern Games? Anybody remember Hampton Games? All right, and let me see how young most all are. Anybody remember zonal sports? Oh, they actually remember that? Wow, only kind of like my age, but yeah, that's good. All right, so in our days, they had something called zonal sports, where we used to really make a concerted effort to come out, and they would check everybody in all the different zones, the different counties, and they would really work on them and really, really check for them. In those days, they used to care. Hear the word? Care. Now they don't really have care again, no, it's fear. It's fear of this, fear of losing your life, fear of not getting food to eat, fear of not making it in any sport you want to do. Ladies and gentlemen, sport is a serious thing. Sport actually is an integral part of the education of any child. Not just children, but also of adults. Because sport teaches us something we need today. Sport teaches us camaraderie. It teaches us how to work as a team. That's why these children these days, only fighting and getting on all over the place, they don't know teamwork, they don't know how to work together, they don't know how to help each other, they don't know how to love each other. You know why? That same word, nobody cares. All right? Now, I've been in sports for a very long time. I don't want to give away my age. A very, very long time, longer than a lot of people are seen here alive. But I'll tell you something. And I'm not mama guy, and I'm not saying anything. But I'm sure you all can tell because you benefit from it right here with Larry Gomes. When the UNC started and they put out the policy on sport, and they start building sport from the ground up, suddenly we start winning in cricket, we start winning in football, we're running all over the place. I'm telling you, all the time, we out there, we in World Cup, we in World Championships, we even go into Olympics, we doing things, you hardly hear about Trinidad. If we make a semi-final, we do good. Suddenly, we start medaling. Well, I didn't realize these things, you know. That is because they had a developmental program. If you don't have a developmental program for your children, what will happen? Seriously. And that is what we're missing terribly, and that is what we need in sport. All right? So many, if you look at the people who get the accolades, what they have to do? They have to take their time and money, throw barbecue after barbecue, do this, that, the other for themselves. Or if they're lucky, they get a sports scholarship otherwise, but they have to go away. They have to go away, do this, that, the other. Something you all might not realize, all right? Not just because we're blessed, you know, but the statistics have it. The statistics have it. We have just about 1.4 million people, and we're competing with countries with 35 million and all that. And you know what? We beaten them. We beaten them. That ain't saying something? We blessed, we born with something. It's a diamond in the rough, but what we have to do? We have to take care of it. We have to shine it, we have to develop it, and then we have to strike it in the right place. And then it has real value. But what are they doing? Nothing. But when somebody wins something, suddenly the minister in the airport, oh, everybody, oh, she there now. And everybody, they're there, they're ready to congratulate you. And to take the fame and glory after you work so hard for everything. And what are we doing about it? That is my question. What are we doing about it? Are we going to continue to tolerate what's going on? Now, let's say that like really serious. Are we going to continue to tolerate what's going on? No, we have to do it now. Because if we don't do it now, our children and our children, I should say my children and my grandchildren, who are alive all now, they're not going to benefit. They will suffer. And then the entire country will suffer. And the system will fail. And all they will say is, we have failed them. But you know why we have failed them? We failed them because we did nothing. All right? So, as most of the great people in opposition would have said, listen, we have to fight for something, or we have to fall for. Oh gosh, come on. We don't really have a choice. It's not a question. We have to start now. We have to stand up now. And I want to remind you all about something which is very serious. A lot of people don't know that. All right? The National Lottery Control Board, let me say it again, the National Lottery Control Board, because everybody here will take a little choke in this, that, but they make millions and millions and millions of dollars. And you know what that's supposed to go towards helping? Let me hear you. Somebody said, what happening? What going on? Come on, guys. We have to wake up or we have to shake up this place. Or that's the end of it. All right? So I'll leave it all there with that. God bless.
I think we could do better for Mr. Cromwell. One more time. The next person I'd like to invite to the platform is Mr. Ramesh Lala, who will talk to us a little bit about crime.
Member of Parliament Saddam Hussein, Senator Damian Leiter, members of the council, ladies and gentlemen, pleasant good night. Now, I was called here and asked to speak on the topic of crime. But after hearing presentation by Saddam, Praki, and Damian, I think we solved the crime already, you know. Next cabinet meeting, send in the police and lock them up and crime solved. My presentation could end right here. We don't have a problem with crime anymore. You all just give the solution. Lock them up, because as far as I see, that is where the problem is. But anyway, let's get down to the nitty-gritty of it. That is the simple and easy solution. In 2008, Trinidad saw the highest ever crime murder rate of 550. In 2019, there were 539. At the start of September this year, the murder rate has already reached a whopping 400. This same time last year, the murder toll was a mere 254, a difference of 146. Ladies and gentlemen, let that sink in. If you look at the statistics of crime, we will see what is happening and where we're going. In 2020, the total number of persons that were murdered was 400. So to date, we have passed the total number of murders for the entire year 2020. And at the current rate, it is expected to reach well over 585. Now, tell me if that is not cause for concern. And these are the facts. This is not hearsay or daisy. These are statistics that have been pulled from reliable reports. So we ask, what influences crime? And one will come up with simple explanations like the economic situations of a country, poverty levels, lack of employment, education, unavailability or lack of social support by government, and in some instances, not being able to access these services. It has been proven that crime increases in most depressed communities where there are many social problems. And I want you to remember the word social problems. What is the impact of crime on people? When someone is a victim of crime, they may experience mental distress, which may directly impact on their quality of life going forward. Also, as crime increases, businesses are greatly affected. No longer you find people going out to socialize. Fast food outlets like KFC and others are now either delivery, curbside pickup, or takeaway. No more family dining at restaurants or evening limes, drives for fear of being attacked. crime, cinemas are almost wiped out. So we see that there's a social problem impact with the increase in crime. Crime in our country has a direct impact on the economy with respect to both domestic and foreign investors. And I don't think I need to go in much into that, but we know, and you have heard on many occasions, our local businessmen pulling out. They're removing themselves. They're remaining stagnant or they're either shrinking. They're not expanding. And of course, every day, if you follow the investment market, you will realize that foreign investors are no longer looking or are interested in coming to Trinidad to set up businesses solely because of the increase in crime. Businesses are closing down. People are migrating. Parents are telling their children, when you finish your education, head out. Further studies away. The cost of goods and services that you and I, the consumers, pay is drastically increasing simply because of crime. How? When a business has to pay security and set up cameras and these infrastructure just to operate, that cost is passed on to you and I. You know, we think of crime only as the number of murders and what we hear. But we have to look at the impact on crime and how it is affecting us to really understand and appreciate the need for us to address these situations. And then you come and you hear things from the Prime Minister who would come and say, when the rich get richer, they create opportunities for the poor. That in itself is a crime. Because that is shunning responsibility, disrespect for the population and the people who seeking assistance. What you are doing is that you are widening the gap between rich and poor, eliminating the middle class. Good? Every year in budget presentation, you would hear big money allocating for crime. And you would hear terms like border patrol, maritime patrol, surveillance camera. It's over 5 years now there are cameras installed throughout the length and breadth of Trinidad. We once heard about ticket coming to your house. Money is being spent and allocated to the Ministry of National Security to deal with crime. And nothing is happening. Absolutely nothing. You continue to hear about these things. All right? Surveillance camera, border control. And this is where they allocate a lot of money. Vehicles. Yet still when you call the police station, no vehicles. Fire service falls under Ministry of National Security. We have a serious problem with that. Okay? Many buildings and businesses has gone to ashes because of the lack of equipment from the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service. They fall under the Ministry of National Security. Right? It is easier to get a job as a gang member than to get a legitimate job. There is no money for businessmen to do legitimate business. Yet still, money is allocated for the importation of arms and ammunition and drugs. You don't pay for those things with TT dollars. You pay for it with US dollars. Where do they get that money from? What is our Ministry of National Security doing about these things? What are they doing to address these issues? Good. I would like to close by recommending that, in particular with the social issues that are affecting our society, government needs to create an independent body comprising of members of various ministries to look into the social issues that is affecting our society. I would like to see the Ministry of National Security, Education, Social Development, and Health, in particular, sports and culture, coming together and set up a unit. Because when we look at the schools today, crime starts in the school. They have removed student support services from these schools when they need to increase it. Look at the amount and the increase in school violence. We need to fix that. We need to solve that problem. And until we don't get to the core issues of what is creating the problem and growing crime and criminality, we will continue to look at the big fish and not focus on where it is started. And tonight I would like to urge the government to place some emphasis on that and set up these institutions and work together to solve that problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Halala. Next, I'd like to call Ms. Nadina Maharaj, who's going to speak to us on small and micro enterprises.
I know, I realize. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson. Are you all hearing me well? Okay. Namaste, salam alaikum, good evening, everyone. TNT burns. TNT burns. And we are walking straight into the scorching fires ignited by the last 6 budgets. We have effectively paid through taxes for our own demise. We have paid for the most rapid decline in our economy and the whittling away of our financial independence. It is insane to say the least. Have we learned that our lessons coming out of that? I don't know. I can only hope so. But what I can tell you is that I do believe in the strength and the power and the spirit of our people. And that spirit can be found in persons like Terrence, in our farmers. It can be found in our small and micro enterprises that are entrepreneurial in origin. It is well established that MSMEs, or small and micro businesses, are the critical pillars of most economies. Their success, and I think somebody mentioned this, is etched in the creative and cultural space of our people. But because I'm short on time, I will not want to go into everything that I've written here. Needless to say, and this is really for Tahako Bika, I don't see him here now, there is a connection between small and micro businesses and the growth of our middle class that drives economic growth. If we look at Amazon and treat Amazon as an economy, in 2020, leading up to the COVID pandemic, Amazon sales was $386 billion. That was 17.5 times the GDP of Trinidad and Tobago, 50 times the budget of Trinidad and Tobago. Micro and small businesses accounted for 50% of the sales of $386 billion. And we here in Trinidad and Tobago are talking about the rich getting richer. We are talking about big business and 1%ers. It is time we understand the role of micro and small businesses. But what does this mean? There are certain challenges, and some of them were raised here, that realize themselves only to the entrepreneur, only to the single mother who has 2 children to take care of, who has a shop to take care of, who has to get to the cooking and to supervise homework, but has to get to the bank, fill out forms, can't get things done, come back home, has to run back. What is the ease of doing business for the micro and small enterprises? I understand, and I saw a report by the Minister of Trade where she said the ease of doing business is going to be a priority for this government. But unless we develop an ease of doing business index specifically for micro and small businesses and the challenges that they face, it's going to be subsumed under a generic EODB index, which will not be applicable to our small businesses. And I'm telling you that the United Nations may be willing to consider such a study in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm saying may because none of this is confirmed, right? I spoke to this young gentleman who after, I don't know, somebody could give me a time check? 2 minutes. All right, I'm going to leave a lot of things out. So, but small and micro enterprises thrive best when they are plugged in to a major ecosystem, an ecosystem such as Airbnb, an ecosystem such as Amazon. I spoke to a young girl, 21 years old, in Belize. She is doing designs of vegan shoes. That vegan shoe, she just sends her design to a production house in Mexico, and then she exports it from there. She is earning foreign exchange. I spoke to a Jamaican, 40 years old, left the corporate world, can't handle the stress of the corporate world. He went out and he looked for a production house in Europe because he was not getting the material in his local country. What that production house did was started to create for him urban wear that he is now exporting online, and urban wear based on his design. He just has to create a design, send it for them, and they're doing it. So these are what we are looking for our small, some space, some eco space that persons can plug into that will grow their businesses. I hope I can share, I have a whole lot of ideas here, but I know we have to wrap up. And if there are 2 things I want to leave here today, we need a special EODB for index for small and micro enterprises, and we need an ecosystem for our small and micro enterprises to plug into, just like an Airbnb, just like a production house. Anything else that I've left out here? On a side note, I noticed that Terence also spoke to the importance of technology. Kariri is not being effectively used, in my mind, to determine and to assess the nutritional content of our foods. I think that is so important today when we need to look at immunity and the immune systems of our population. The last point I want to leave with is that we spoke about the continuous increase in fuel prices. Increase in fuel prices is one of the most important drivers of inflation. No one is calculating the VAT intake of MBE and the Minister of Finance as a result of increasing prices. 12% of $100 is more than 12.5% of $100 is more than 12.5% of $50. The government is benefiting from inflation through increased nominal increase in taxes into the coffers, and we are paying for it to our own demise. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Nadina Barrage. what I would ask you to do is that I know you didn't get to complete all of your presentation, but if you would be so kind enough to just share your notes with us, it will certainly be recorded as part of this consultation. Thank you very much. We now want to open the mic for those of you who from the floor would like to make any contribution that you would like us to record or raise within the Parliament for you. So the mic is in front here. Do we have a roving mic? So whatever presentation you make is going to be recorded. So before you start your presentation, just state your name and the area in which you are from. Try to be switched on. Use this mic.
Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Testing 1, 2. Good evening, everyone. My name is Lyndon Digans. I am from Malabar area, District of. I am represented Dabadi Omira District. I am known as Mr. Malabar. All right, that's it. If you listen to the calling programs, that is me. So I have been advocating for some years now, right? Now we are here today because why? There's a budget coming up, and we are here because we have to do pre-budget consultations to make recommendations to who? The Minister of Finance? Now we know the Minister of Finance is not somebody who is humble enough to take recommendations, particularly from people like us, right? So the Minister of Finance really is an arrogant kind of person who you drop that to him, no matter how good it is not coming from him, so shoot that away. But we are hearing, I want to deal a little bit on crime, right? Because we are hearing that Arima has the highest crime rate presently, right? Isn't that? Arima is it? Where is? Tunapuna? So Arima second? Okay. But we are not hearing anything from the Minister of National Security or anybody. How are we going to mitigate or address the crime situation in Arima? What we have, though, is a Minister of National Security who's waiting for a magic wand to solve crime. And a Minister of National Security who's telling us that his role is not to ensure that we are safe and secure. Right? Now, it's simple. It's very simple. You have to have the courage and the testicular fortitude to deal with crime. In other words, if there is a supply and you don't have the testicular fortitude to cut off the supply, then cut off the demand. And if there's a demand for it, and the demand is in the impoverished communities, deal first with ensuring that these communities, if you could put things like environmental designs, crime prevention through environmental designs. In other words, lift the standard of the living of the communities like Beetham and these areas, Malabar and these communities. We can walk through these areas and see why it is that people are more inclined to crime. Because there are lack of jobs, lack of opportunities. Sport has died in Arima. Arima has been the hub of sport and culture. All these things has died. Bring back these things and get the community and the youth involved in these things, so that they'll have opportunities for development. Because crime is a product of opportunity. So if there is no alternative, the youth will turn to crime. People like I and you will suffer at the hands of these youths. I stand and I have been prepared to deal with youths and will continue to do that. But we need to have a Minister of National Security and we need to have a government in place who has the courage to deal with crime in the way of cutting off the supply and the demand. And I believe, when I did a comparator analysis between 2010 to 2015 and 2015 to present, the right government with the right people and the right leader to put in place to ensure that our country does not have a minister who waiting on a magic wand, but have people who have the vision and the testicular fortitude to deal with it, Kamala Prasad Bisesa. And her ministers who she put in place. So I can't stay too long, but I can go on and on. This is my contribution here today, that we need to put a government in place, and that's what we're here for. Put a government in place who will deal with the crime, and we have an input to play as well. Each and every one of us have a role to play to ensure that our community is safe, that our community are free from crime and corruption. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Digans. And I see that you had raised some very important criminological theories there in terms of environmental design through crime prevention. The mic is open. One of our mics is not working too well, so we'll have to use this one mic. So anyone else? Just state your name for everyone and the general area you're from.
Pleasant good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Curtis O'Brady, Arima, Honorable Political Leader, Mrs. Kamala Prasad Bisesa, the Honorable MP, Mr. Saddam Hussein, and to all the others, all protocols have been suggested. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to know where we came from in order to know the reason why we are where we are today. And the problem that we have from since 1956 is the PNM. They are the problem, you know. Because the reason why I'm saying this is, these are the same people who want to come on September the 26th, stand to be corrected. Because when you have people like Imsbert and them, the smallest, so-called baddest midget, who say, we raise gas 3 times and they ain't riot yet. This is the same man want to come and read a budget of lies and deceits and foolish innuendos for all of us, you know. Thief and thief-free. So when they come to read this machination of cats and dogs, because that's what they will come with, it raining cats and dogs, but they're not offering up no sorts of solutions. Because under the disguise of a pandemic, they got the procurement legislation in order to legalize thieving. Remember, you know, got the procurement legislation in order to legalize thieving. Under the disguise of a pandemic, they went so far as to blame it on the pandemic, to say that is the reason why people lost their jobs and they lost their businesses. They lie. That's PNM style. They love to lie. They love to lie, they love to deceive. Because you could have heard it in the voices of the people in the 1970s riots. When both the oil sector and the sugarcane workers came together and they tell the People's Never Matter movement, enough, and it's time to go. Ladies and gentlemen, even though I'm short, I'm going to be short because there's not much to say about the PNM because they have a short history of lying and deceiving. Ladies and gentlemen, we already know the problem, which is the PNM. Because people have been losing their jobs and losing their businesses long before the pandemic. So the solution that I'm offering, ladies and gentlemen, whatever election calls, whether it's local election or general election, take it from your boy. Take it from me. A vote for Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar and the United National Congress is a vote for prosperity, longevity, and a better Trinidad and Tobago. Long live Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar. Long live the people of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And long live the United National Congress.
Thank you. Yes. All protocols observed. Thank you, Mr. MP. My name is Edison Ulasi. I'm from Tunapuna, and I seldom come out of Tunapuna, but I want to be known as one of we tonight. One of we meaning that not only Tunapunians are suffering under this government over the last 7 years. In fact, if I have to go back a little further, PNM was born 1 month before I came on this earth. And I will tell you, in 1956 to now, 66 years, the PNM has never deserved government. They came through in 1956, you all would know, but I read it, that the PNM was given 2 seats to make up 13, which was the majority for 24 to form the legislative government, to take the legislative government in 1956. But we're not here about that. I want to ask one question, and really and truly, you all don't know me, so I want you to confirm the question that I want to ask. I want to ask you first, the audience, whether over the last 7 years, you could see anything that this government has done. I didn't hear that. Nothing. Very little or nothing. A lot of recusals, but yeah. Okay, so I happen to come to a UNC platform here, but I am really red, white, and black. I have never been anything but red, white, and black as I come here today. And I'm sure that many of you, and somebody mentioned it, that I think it's Senator Leader, that some woman named, I think it's Pushe, was put down because she was associated with the opposition. So what is that? The opposition are people too. In fact, the PNM feel they own the country, and that is wrong. So coming back to my question is, I would like to ask the parliamentarians, Mr. Senator Leader, Senator Saddam, and you've been a good representative. I would like to ask you guys to ask the PNM to account and give us a breakdown of the spending of the government, if not over 7 years, we can't, because they would want to concentrate on this year. And they will rehash all the things that they want to rehash. But for the last year, we want to know where the money went. Please, everybody here identify with that question? So, Mr. Saddam, MP Saddam, that is what we are charging you to go back to Parliament. You and Senator Leiter and all the senators, well, both houses, right? And try your very best to get past the lady who tries to shut you up, right? You all should work out a strategy for these people. Any event, that is the question, I think, that is most in the minds of simple people like myself. As I told you, I am one of we. So, thank you very much for this short opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jillian Millington Ramsaran, and I'm from CUREP at St. Augustine, Paget, right? When I was going to school, I was always told that the future of our country is in the book bags of our children. We could no longer say that. We cannot. Because when you have people preparing their children to go to school for the first week, and they can't send them because they don't have shoes to put on their children's feet, that they are going to school with slippers on their feet. And this is a stark reality. This is not no joke. You have parents standing up and begging you for shirts to send their children to school. You're standing there in the night and you're trying to drop the hem of your child's school skirt. This is the country that we live in, and we are one of the richest countries in the Caribbean, and this is what we are faced with, and how shameful it is. In the first week of the PNM being in power, they started to cut food cards, and it wasn't by 2 or 3, it was at $2.50 a week. They were cutting these people and them without asking them, can you afford to pay your bills today and send your children to school tomorrow? $23 a pound for tomatoes in the market. $23 a pound. Right? This is what we have to deal with. A 2-3 pound chicken is $59. Mr. Hussein, when you go there, ask them how they expect us to survive. So they are raising gas in the next couple of weeks, and I'm talking about cooking gas, because I could walk, I own my P2, thank God I could do that. But what about those who have to put the pot up on a stove and they cannot afford the gas for it, but only dropping the price of cigarettes? Seriously? They're dropping the price of cigarettes. We are parents here. We are women and men that go to bed studying. How are we going to make it to the next day? We might put a smile on our face, but that is not what we really want to do, you know. So these are the questions you have to ask. You have to ask them, what have you done to my country? What are you doing to my people? Why are mothers standing up on the side of the road begging for money to send their children to school? I have parents coming to me telling me they cannot send their children to school for the next month because they can't buy books. You know what? Somebody go turn around and say, who are the money in their pocket? So what you do for the 2 months that the children was on holiday? Well, sweetheart, I was working, and here's what. I had to pay light bill, water rate. I had to make sure that it had food on the table. I did not have money to go and buy a secondary book that costs $250 that a child might most likely never use. And now we're going to start the e-book program, which we have been talking about for years, for decades. All right, good. You're going to start the e-book program. The MSJ spoke about it. So you put out a report on the MOE website saying that by October, you would have an answer to the people what you're going to do. All well and good. When you put this e-book out there, who are the IT technicians in the school? How are you going to pay them to continue these programs on them? Because they don't have it. The prestige schools have it because they pay out of pocket. What about the government schools? What about those children and them? Because when it's the prestige school, you see they go in to sit their exam and they have their book bags still full on their back, sitting down there and studying. And the schools, the other schools, and them walking with a pen and just the entrance paper because they don't know what they're going to do after that. Gate programs closed, UTT programs closed. I have a cousin that was going UTT and had what he stopped because they closed the school. You know, we're doing now planting pumpkin. And that is, listen, if you don't have a trade in this country to fall back on, nah, your dog's dead, you know. It ain't had 2 ways about it, you know. Your dog's dead. So you have to take shame out of your face. You have people who have been fired, retrenched, sent home. And these are people who are working minimum wage, have to find a way to feed their family. So you know what they're doing? They're cooking. And now food prices sky high. So you can't even do that. I buy a crocus bag and mango just to make coachella because let me tell you something, it's hard outside there. So you had to do what you have to do without shame in your face to feed your family. And this is my country. And it hurts me to see what this PNM regime has done. This is where we are. They're coming at the farm in St. Augustine. And this is close to my heart. Because I played in that farm. I picked grapefruit off the tree. I went and I take pomaraco off the tree. That is where I grew up. That is where I passed through. And now you're taking 20 acres of the richest farmland in this country to do what? Why can't you just diversify that? Why can't you turn it and give it to people to plant that land and start bringing out produce? That is what you have to do. And when they come in there and they start to do this, let me tell you something. The roads are going to get worse. All those people that retrenched and selling on the side of the Southern Main Road, that you stop to buy your doubles and your shack and bake and your burgers, all those people have nowhere else to sell after that, you know. And that is what they were dependent on to mind their family. And now that is going to be taken away from them. What are we going to do then? So please, pose those questions and then for me, Mr. Hussain. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gillian. That was an excellent contribution. And Gillian hit the nail on the head. The PNM cares about votes, not food, you know. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day. The mic is open. We have, I think, 2 persons interested to speak again on the mic. And after these 2 contributions, we would like to end the proceedings for tonight. Say the name and where you're from, right? All right. Okay, nice. You can turn around.
Okay. Good night, everyone. My name is Patricia Pierre Greenwich. I'm from Tunapuna Road. I would like to ask one question. I would like to ask this in Parliament for me, please. Because I'm a grandmother of a 14-year-old. And it's hard for me. I'm not working anymore. But I get help by the grace of God. Whatever I think about for him, somebody they show up and give it to me. So I know God is looking after his needs, right? But I want to ask one question. We are 60 years old as an independent nation. When we got independent, our first Prime Minister was very smart. The Queen had a little say still over us. But he went and made us a Republican. And that moved away everything from her. Okay, the question I want to ask is 60 million that they spent this year to celebrate independence, right? 6. How much? 7? All right. Thanks for correction. How much people who are not working could have benefited from that to help their children? how many people? We have to think about the children. You know why the crime rate will go up plenty? Because when you have a child and you see that child hungry, it hurts all parts of you. You could drink water and you could pray and you will feel full, but them children and them don't know that, right? And we have to think about that. And I don't think we really have a prime minister, eh? We don't. Some people will vex with me for saying that, but we don't have a prime minister because all he studies is himself and his friends and his grandchildren and his children. But I want to send a warning to him tonight. All that money, how much millions we get for COVID, nobody asking a question about that, where that went. The poor people ain't see nothing. Nine people in the country ain't see that. Right? How much money you get after the UN and all of that. Take the money and don't think you will enjoy it. Not even your children going to enjoy it. The time will come. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Good night to all. My name is Dill. Everybody know me as Dill. I'm a member of the Upper Mara Village Community Council. Tonight, I want to beg for help, really beg for some help. I want to ask the President, the Prime Minister, and anybody who could help me in Arima, please. Now, I would like to start. Flora, you want to help me? I would like to start with, we have a problem, cancer problem in Arima. Where I live on Umea Road, opposite me, Jeanette Edwards, cancer, died from cancer. The left of my house, Petra Jaglal, died from cancer. The back of my house, that is on the eastern side, two fellas there, Ginny and Rojan, died from cancer. On the right side, on the northern side, Baker, Hagan died from cancer also. Two houses down Umera, a cow died from cancer, Henry Akow. Pagai's sister, two houses lower down, all you know Pagai. Pagai's David John's sister died from cancer. What try to tell you all here, we have a farm in Arima. Every street in Arima, there are about 2 or 3 cancer victims who passed away and who living with cancer. Now, I was just trying to draw what we suggest contributing to the cancer farm in Arima. We have a dump on the northeastern side of the town. Well, the fumes from the dump, whenever the landfill, coming over and blowing from the northeastern side, blowing west. We have the industrial estate to the southwest of the borough. We have the Arawak farm up on the highway contributing. I'm talking about heavy pollution. Then we have the Mausika catchment, the Mausika River, then we had the runoff from the dump. Now, what we have, the fumes blowing over the tongue, about how much? About 1964, they put the dump on the northeastern side. Normally, they used to light it, now they turn it into a landfill. Now, continue blowing over the tongue, the smoke, it results in cancer. All right. What I want to say here is that we need somebody to pay attention and to help us address that concern. The fumes, the water from the Mausika catchment are being used to water vegetables, plants, and bring back on the table in the market. Have you ever seen anybody testing there to see what kind of chemical or contaminators, the producers in the market ever will ever see that being done? No. So you work hard, buy your money, and then buying cancer. So we will like whoever in authority could address or help us address our concern. My next thing too, this is a wild card, right? If the problem too big for the politicians, namely UNC, PNM, and whoever, we could, with our Royal Chartered Borough, we could write to the Royal United Kingdom and ask them for assistance to address the concern it overbearing. Now, with that plenty thing, I kind of anxious and fumbling up with the complaint here. But my whole thing is, we in Arima, it's not a UNC problem. It's not a PNM problem. It's all of us problem. This cancer thing is too big. Right, thank you.
Good night. I'll be brief because I know we're pressed for time. So 2 points I would like to raise. Now I fall under the Tunapuna Regional Corporation, so I'm happy that this consultation is being done. I'd like to applaud the party for doing this. One major issue I want to raise is in St. Joseph, we have a lot of bad roads. There were a lot of money that was supposed to have been allocated in the last budget where they were supposed to create a company. What has happened to that? Where is that? I believe it's 100 million, I believe was put. I'm open to be corrected with the figure. What has happened to that? Because the roads in St. Joseph is deplorable to where we have decided, the people of St. Joseph, every bad road, we are going to name those roads after Terence Dialsing. Because that man has not been representing St. Joseph at all. It's bad. People's cars are being damaged. A lady just yesterday fell into one of those holes and damaged her leg. I think she needs legal help. My final point I want to raise is a pet peeve. Today the Law Association sent out an email stating that the new courts, the civil courts, have basically been finished. But I want to know how much money is being allocated to those new courts when you have courts in Tunapuna still not operating properly. Elevators are still not working. Princess Tong Magistrates Court was damaged after an earthquake. What has happened there? Any work was done? Any at all? Because lawyers were told to go Rio Claro. Some of these magistrate courts are so like hot boxes. What is happening? Are they being fixed during the time of COVID? Because very soon courts will open back. People have to go back to court. And I will close up with that same point in that what is being done for connectivity for the people of this country, because a lot of our citizens can't afford internet. There are people who have court matters, cannot even get their matters on their phone properly because there's poor connectivity. So I would like to ask that these points be looked at for the next budget debate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian Big. As we come to the end of our program, I just saw Councillor Amit Suknanan join us here. And I probably have a little joke for you. I saw Amit put up a video today on Facebook. And there was a little flood on Arangwa's main road. Now, that is Terence Dialsing constituency and not Baratarasawa. And I saw a caiman. A caiman was on the road in that flood water on our main road. Right? That is where we got to in this country. So as we close off tonight's program, I just like to call on very hard-working stalwart of this area, Flora Singh, to just do a very short and lovely vote of thanks for us.
Good evening, UNC family. We in the UNC like to say with a grateful heart, thank you. And tonight, I want to thank our Minister, MP, Saddam Hussein, Khadija Amin, who is not here, for taking this pre-budget consultation caravan throughout the country and actually enlightening and educating the people of Trinidad and Tobago on what is to come, what we would like to see happen, and for the best to happen for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So I want to say tonight, thank you to Alderman Angie Benjamin from coming all the way to Arima, to Alderman Diane Bishop for a job well done tonight. We want to say thank you to all the presenters. You did very well and you have made us proud tonight. We want to say thank you for, yes, we are very proud of you. Thank you for your presentation. For all of you who have worked hard behind the scene to making this place look the way it is tonight, we want to say thank you. For all the aldermen and councillors from the Tunapuna and Arima Corporation, we want to say thank you for your presentation, for coming out here tonight and really giving of your best to the people of Arima, the people of W Mirror and Tunapuna and the rest of our country. We say thank you. We are one people, one nation, one human race. And we have to stand up for our country. And you have done well tonight. We want to say thank you, you know. And I hope I'm not leaving out anybody, you know. But for those who have, for all of you, for Vidya, the Arima executive, the W Mirror executive, for being such a good host to our guests, we say thank you. And thank all of you for coming. Without you, none of this was going to be possible. And for all of those of you who are on live stream and who are listening tonight, we say thank you and may God bless you. May God bless Trinidad and Tobago. May God bless us all. Amen.
And thank you very much, Flora. Our last budget consultation will be held next week, Wednesday. We will be having a joint consultation with the Penal Debe Regional Corporation and the San Fernando City Corporation. You will see the flyers being issued with the dates and the time, the venue and the time. So we hope that you clear your calendar for next week, Wednesday. Save the date, Penal Debe and the San Fernando City Corporation. Thank you very much for attending this evening, and please reach home safely. All councillors and aldermen for the Tunapuna Corporation and the